The story I'm about to tell you takes place in the summer of 1649, a time that had changed my life forever. I was a crew member on board an exploratory ship headed to the New World, a supposed land full of promise and riches. We had about 600 miles under the sail by this time. The unending rain and humidity we faced threatened to spoil our entire food supply. The crew's morale had been almost completely diminished, and no one had slept in days. All we could think was that the alchemists of the old world sent us to our death in search of a fairy tale. The crew desperately wanted to turn around, but the captain insisted we push through the storm. He was completely obsessed over this magical substance known to us as Azoth. All he does is mutter on and on about a land full of Azoth and how this substance multiplies the natural properties of all things. There was actually a scholar aboard the ship, a crew member, named Alameda. He told me he had studied this substance at the captain's request. He confirmed that Azoth is neither mineral nor liquid. It glows a haunting blue, and when held by human hands, it seems to almost hum. This strange substance we go in search of, like many others before us, is said to give eternal life. But from what we saw, all this substance had done is make the captain insane. The crew had already come to the conclusion that the captain had lost it, and lost it he had. Before I tell you what happened, you may ask me, why didn't we stand up to the captain? That I cannot answer. But being weak and delirious from lack of food, no one had the strength to fight back or question the captain, especially after we watched him throw the scholar named Alameda overboard just for calling him mad. After a few long days in that storm, it had become so unbearable it felt as if the ship would be swallowed up by the sea itself. And that right there was the last time I remember being aboard that ship. When I finally came to, there I was on shore sitting amongst the wreckage. The high water would come in and further dislodge the ruins of other great ships grounded there. Some looked ancient, while our galley appeared to be the newest addition to that graveyard of expeditions. I knew I couldn't stay on shore, so I decided to forge inland and make camp for the night in hopes any other survivors would see my signal. The next morning I awoke and began to search for survivors. I walked and I walked, when in the near distance I saw what looked like a survivor. As I get closer and closer, I came to a sudden halt. It was my old shipmate, Alameda. You know, the same Alameda that was thrown overboard 6 days ago. There he stood, speared straight through the chest with a timber. He was pale, water-bloated, making hissing sounds and completely incoherent. As I turned around and attempted to flee from his ghastly visage, he began chasing me down, swiping at me with decaying hands. After running and running for what seemed like miles, I finally got away. At that very moment, all I could think to myself was, this is no promised land of our dreams, but a purgatory of unholy punishment. After some time hiding out, I was finally able to catch my breath. I decided to continue on in search of survivors, when out of nowhere, again, a foul, rotting thing bearing a strange resemblance to our captain jumps down from atop the ruins of a slope and strikes me. Right then, I drove my makeshift weapon straight through his neck, but not before it pierced my stomach with its rusted sword. I flee and I flee as quick as I can, crouched over and bleeding out. I search for shelter. I find a small cave. I lie down to rest. I was so tired. As I awoke at camp, injury healed, I cannot judge how much time had passed, but it was definitely not the month of recovery that I needed for such a wound. I was restored, but incomplete. I know I can't return to shore for the fear of what I might find there. This place would not have let me die anyways, as it has not released any sailor who drowned, only washed them upon these shores. The Grim Reaper claims no souls here, and the dead wander. I know there must have been other survivors of the wrecks. Though I could not see them, I saw the marks of their presence, footprints, tinged with azoth in the sand that led my way forward. I followed these tracks, and the strange blue flames that occupied the repurposed ship lanterns along the path. I pray I find some refugee walking that came before me. I continued on amongst the path laid out before me, when in the distance I spotted 2 grand statues of the finest craftsmanship standing against the waves. The tide had receded, and there was nothing for me in the muddy grave behind me. But ahead, there was a sandbar leading straight to the mainland of Aternum. I don't know what I would find there, but anything had to be better than this. If you like this video and you want to see more, please like and subscribe. I also stream on Twitch almost daily in the New World category. Stop on by and say hello.